It's not just about where you go, but how you do it. Welcome to MojoTravels, and today we're discussing some of the best and worst travel trends of the 2010s. Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to MojoTravels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the good and bad in travel over the last decade. By this, we don't just mean the impact of individual travel experiences, but also the happiness of locals, the environment, and the tourism industry as a whole. Bad. Insta travel. Look, we're not here to deny the appeal of Instagram. Social media is a major driving force behind the wanderlust of many responsible and respectful travelers. The problem is that with the rise of social media influencers, picture-perfect destinations that were once as solitary and untouched as an Instagram photo would have you believe are now swarmed with people looking to recreate that shot. The crowds are bad enough, but a major problem with doing it for the gram is that many travelers are now more focused on documenting the experience rather than actually living it. Go to a popular vista and take a look around. How many people are taking photos for social media rather than genuinely soaking in the view? Good. Boutique hotels. It's a pretty common feeling amongst frequent travelers that hotels have a nasty habit of blurring together. There's a distinct hotel design aesthetic that's understandably but regrettably deeply impersonal. As we'll see further on, travelers are increasingly looking for unique, memorable experiences. And thankfully, we're increasingly seeing options for accommodations that check the one-of-a-kind box, even if they do often tend to be pricier. Chains have loyalty programs and a sense of familiarity, but with independent and/or boutique hotels, your accommodations feel firmly rooted in the local area. Plus, they tend to offer more personalized services and attention. Bad. Over-tourism. We're living in an age of unprecedented mobility. A larger percentage of the global population is traveling than ever before. In 2018, the World Tourism Board reported 1.4 billion international tourists' arrivals. In one sense, this is a wonderful global cultural exchange. But when you combine it with influencer culture and long-standing must-visit destinations like Paris, Venice, Rome, etc., the sheer volume of people can have obvious and fast-acting consequences. Iceland was the hot destination of the decade, but large crowds began to undermine not only its pristine appeal, but also overwhelm its infrastructure. Worst of all, heavy foot traffic has had an impact on the local environment. Good. The rise of undertourism. Over-tourism is a term that most people are now familiar with. Undertourism, however, is just beginning to make waves. As the term suggests, undertourism refers to destinations that appeal to travelers looking to escape overcrowded destinations like those we just discussed. It's a compelling concept and seems to be beneficial in a number of ways. For travelers looking for an authentic experience, these destinations feel fresh and as of yet uncompromised by tourist expectations and opportunism. For the destinations themselves, a growing frustration with over-tourism provides them with an opportunity for economic growth. For the time being, it's a win-win, but local tourist industries in under-tourism destinations need careful planning and management to avoid seeing themselves swap out under for over. Bad. The Brooklyn effect. This is another term that we've been hearing increasingly often over the last decade. Brooklyn's appeal isn't hard to understand. Some of its most famous areas are trendy, hip, youth-oriented, and very much focused on artisanal, high-quality, and niche products, services, and experiences. In short, it's a hipster haven. But Brooklyn wasn't always trendy. However, gentrification has seen it evolve into what it is today, and its desirability has pushed out lower-income families and long-term businesses. Despite these socioeconomic consequences, Brooklyn's appeal is such that neighborhoods around the world seemingly aim to become the Brooklyn of X. This is the Brooklyn effect, and it can not only hurt local residents, but also result in homogeneous travel experiences. Good. Authenticity. When a destination receives a high number of travelers, local businesses will often begin to adjust their offerings in order to meet the expectations, wants, and needs of international visitors. If you've ever walked through the more touristy parts of Paris or Rome, you've surely seen restaurants with signs that say tourist menu. Or how about the endless slew of cookie-cutter gift shops one finds near Times Square or in Venice Beach? If the destination is popular enough, one can visit a city without having so much as a single experience to which a local can relate. Thankfully, travelers seem to be pushing back against tourist-minded offerings. Visitors increasingly want authenticity, to eat and drink at small local establishments, and to observe and engage in the local culture. Bad. Slum tourism. While authenticity is all well and good, there's a clear difference between engaging with a local culture and being exploitative. Over the years, visitors seeking to gain perspective or see how others live have given rise to tours that take visitors, usually those of substantial means and privilege, into areas of extreme poverty. Defenders call it educational and humanitarian-minded, while others deem it voyeuristic, in that it turns the lives of others into a spectacle of misfortune. Such tours can bring money to these areas and foster connections across socioeconomic divides, but by the same token, there are arguably much more efficient ways to effect change. In short, there are ethical poverty tours out there, but travelers must do their research beforehand. And given the lack of regulation and countless opportunistic tours out there, the popularity of slum tourism at this time feels more harmful than good. Good ecotourism. While travel experiences are incredibly enriching, they come with costs, ones that are not only monetary. Air travel in particular is quite taxing on the environment, but given that there are so few viable alternatives, it's important that people attempt to minimize their carbon footprint and environmental impact in other ways. Thankfully, there seems to be a concerted effort to think more about the environment. We're seeing an increased number of eco-resorts and environmentally minded travel packages and tours that invite visitors to appreciate a destination without contributing to its decline. And as travelers become increasingly self-conscious about their environmental impact, they're prioritizing these businesses and the experiences they have to offer. Bad. Working while traveling. The last decade has seen the rise of the digital nomad. With our lives increasingly taking place online, there are many jobs that can be done while on the road, be it for an extended holiday or even indefinitely. This, however, is a double-edged sword. For those who have crafted a life and found a balance in which this allows them to support themselves, have a fulfilling career, and lead their best lives, more power to them. For many, however, being constantly plugged in just means that they haven't taken a proper vacation in years. Your smartphone's omnipresence is such that even when you're on the beach, you're expected to be reachable. You're likely so conditioned to check your email daily that you likely do it without prompting. The end result is that far too many people never actually disconnect, and when traveling, that often comes at the expense of the overall experience. Good, slow travel. When you have limited time and you've made it to a destination you've never been to before, the urge is strong to pack in as much as you possibly can. This applies not only to overall itinerary, 5 European countries in 10 days, why not, but also in how you plan your days. But as anyone who's been to a budget buffet can tell you, more isn't always better. Evolving out of the slow food movement, slow travel takes this mentality of savoring the moment and applies it to all aspects of travel. Rather than rushing from Rome to Florence, take a leisurely drive through the countryside and soak it in. Sit and watch the sunset from the balcony of the beautiful hotel room you booked. Travel shouldn't be approached with a completist's philosophy. Thankfully, this is something that, in recent years, more and more people seem to be taking to heart. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoTravels and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.